Why are the Chinese building a huge railway all the way to Europe? Because they're frightened that they will lose access to the sea. Otherwise, it makes no sense whatsoever. It's also a tool of Chinese imperialism. The new tribute bearers of the Chinese Empire will be all of those states that have a big Chinese railway running through it. They will lose their access to their own internet. They will lose access to other vital things like possibly even representation in the United Nations, and they will become satellites. They will become almost hollowed out provinces of the Chinese Empire. And the only question is where the railway ends. And if it ends in Berlin, certainly they're doing this to Russia. The carcass of Russia is being picked over by the Chinese, I think, with great skill. They're asset stripping the Russians for all they're worth. And when they're finally finished, they will take back the bits of China that the Russians stole from them in the 19th century. Because, as we know, the Chinese have asked all of the Western powers to give back, Hong Kong and Macau and all of these things. They've never asked the Russians, who took, a huge swathe of northern China around the Amur River basin. I said to them years ago, when are you going to ask for that back? They said, not yet. When they're ready, they'll ask for it back. And at the moment, ethnic Chinese are flooding into this region anyway, because the ethnic Russians are retreating back to the center. So they will get it one way or another. And the more of China there is, the less likely it is that China will want to go to sea and use that as a significant issue. The main threat at the moment for the Chinese is that their second strike nuclear deterrent is sea-based, and it's insecure because the Japanese know exactly where it is and would probably sink it quite quickly. So that's what so-called Senkaku's Islands dispute is about. That's the first place where you can put your submarines in deep water, and that's what that dispute is about. It's not about territory, it's about deep water. So as you come to the edge of the continental shelf, that's the place where the Japanese are waiting for them. And they were doing that to the Russians all the way through the Cold War, off Vladivostok. So that's the entire raison d'etre of the Japanese submarine arm is tailgating ballistic missile submarines. And they're very, very good at it. And they've just built extra submarines, so they're even better at it.